There have been all of these rumors swirling around that Kathleen Kennedy is once again on her way out. These rumors tend to persist no matter what happens, but a lot of people do believe that this is going to be the year that she finally exits. And the sad thing is it seems like the only time Star Wars ever shows up in the news is when it has something to do with people fighting, because there just isn't a whole lot of excitement around it anymore. It's kind of been drained out of people. Mandalorian and Grogu is going to theaters. I don't see anyone super excited about that, except for the fact that they're going to have to endure more Pedro Pascal in that film. But now what the news is that John Boyega is back in the news because he was doing this new documentary series. He was giving an interview and he's talking about how Star Wars is, quote, so white that a black person existing in it is a big deal. Toxic fans are okay with us playing the friends, but we can't touch their heroes. And I think the problem is, and I don't even have an endless amount of notes for this, I think the problem is that John Boyega never actually went online and spoke to any actual Star Wars fans. Because if you talk to anyone that I know that talked about Star Wars, and as you guys know, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. Seen them, didn't care much for the sequel trilogy. I don't even think I finished Rise of Skywalker because the first two movies were just so blah. And I love the slop most of the time, but it's just, I don't care. Thank you, guys. Scared the crap out of you.
Every time.
Okay. So the problem is that he fundamentally... Oh, he's dancing.
You need a new song, though, Brett.
No. We love it. Well, Mary loves it.
Maybe mix the last one with this one.
That's
create
a good idea.
hybrid.
That's a good idea. So the problem is, guys, back on topic here. I know you guys, if you're watching this, the clip, you hate the crisis parties. But the problem is that everyone that I assume he's talking about here, and I'm not necessarily giving him the benefit of the doubt here, so we're not going to take the charitable conclusion. Nobody wanted Finn put into the background. If anything, what they wanted is they wanted for Rey to be put in the background, and they wanted the story of Finn to be brought front and center because they loved the idea of a stormtrooper going through a redemption arc.
I remember, I think it was the trailer for when they announced the new trilogy. I remember there was a trailer, and I think it was Finn picking up the lightsaber, and everyone thought he was going to be the new Jedi. And they're like, this is a cool story. Like, you're a nobody working for the evil empire, and suddenly you're somebody now, and you're one of the good guys. Like, that is such a great story arc, and they just put a chick in it. They put a girl
as
on.
Kathleen Kennedy is wont to do. So what he's doing right now is he was giving an interview for a documentary called Number One on the Call Sheet: Black Leading Men in Hollywood. I actually looked at the trailer for this and it looks fairly interesting, but I'm a sucker for Denzel Washington and I kind of want to see his interview for this. And he talks about the rise of Skywalker, his role in the sequel trilogy, and the online harassment from racist and toxic Star Wars fans upset with a black actor playing a lead hero in the space franchise. This is his quote. Let me tell you, Star Wars always had the vibe of being in the most whitest elite space. It's a franchise that's so white that a black person existing in it was something. I'm sorry. That was the end of the quote. You can always tell it's something when Star Wars fans try to say, well, we had Lando Calrissian and we had Samuel L. Jackson. It's like telling me how many cookie chips are in the cookie dough. It's like they're just scattered in there, bro. They're okay with us playing the lead's best friend, but once we touch their heroes, once we lead, once we trailblaze, it's like, oh my God, it's just a bit too much. They're pandering, the actor added, while also acknowledging that being cast in the franchise was a fundamental moment in his career.
Who is he talking to?
So he seems confused as if... So the fans can't pander. Only Disney can pander.
I wonder if, like, he went to the execs and said, yo, like, what's the issue here? I want a larger role.
He has
and
done
the
that.
execs threw the fans under the bus.
So here's a $20 super chat from award-winning, we will not say the end of that name. My kids went to the grocery store one night and came back with a pint of Down syndrome ice cream, saying that they knew it was made for me. Moments like that are worth more than any monetary item. Have kids, at least 5. I did.
I don't even know what that means.
He's saying that they made a joke and it made him happy.
I don't get the joke. Maybe that ice cream's for me.
It could be for you.
Yeah.
That could be the problem.
No, like I want to know who the hell's in his ear telling him this shit. Like they're gaslighting him, because this is one of the clearest examples where the fans actually were overwhelmingly in support of this guy getting a larger role.
I liked and the funny thing is with what's going on with Zegler now, like nothing's changed.
Like usually the star of the movie pisses people off. It's rare to see like one of these side characters have it reminds me like 15, maybe not that long ago, maybe like 10 years ago, the internet was really pushing for Donald Glover as Spider-Man, as Miles Morales. He wanted to do it, and I think he eventually got a role in the animated series.
Well, they haven't done it live action yet.
They wanted that. They wanted him to be live action Miles Morales, and I think that's kind of, I mean, he's older now, it's not going to work. But you had people
I've always liked him better
begging.
as a writer than as a...
I think he's kind of good with whatever he does.
But I knew him from music before I knew him from acting. I didn't watch. I knew Childish Gambino before I knew Donald
Glover. As well.
I like this quote from Clifton Duncan. I think it sets the tone for this. He says, "The biggest shift within show business over the last 10 years is that peer approval now matters more than public approval. They no longer care what you think, as you are no longer the audience they perform for. You are not even the audience anymore. You are merely roadblocks to progress. In other words, you are the enemy. Once you understand that, all the other hostility towards you makes sense."
I feel bad. This breaks my heart in a way, because he's just so wrong.
Yeah.
And it's like, it could have been like, to me, I mean, he's crying racism, right? Basically.
Yeah.
But
the evidence is so clearly to the contrary that everybody wanted him to be. You know who didn't? China. That's why they shrunk the poster. If you guys remember this was a big scandal at the time, that they shrunk down his image on the poster for the Chinese version. And have you seen what's going on with iShowSpeed in China right now? It's not good. It's so funny because it was being billed as, look at iShowSpeed destroy the anti-Chinese propaganda like last Friday. Come Monday and he's having racist stuff hurled at him.
We have to listen, like the government institutions, Hollywood, these big bodies, they are so out of touch, and we need to stop pretending, because we're only hurting ourselves, that they actually understand what we want and what we like. It is rare.
Well, first of all, they don't believe that you know what you want. They believe that they know what you want better than you know what you want.
Possibly.
They are actually insulted by the idea that you could tell them what you want and that you'd be right. They believe that it's your job to sit down. It's your job to eat the slop and to consume what we make for you, because we're the artists, anointed by some higher power that they don't even believe in.
It's like I said, it breaks my heart a little bit, because I do think, I mean, how long ago was the last movie they did for Star Wars of the trilogy?
What was that, 2021? Or no, it would have been 2019 before COVID.
My point is, it's been years and he's still talking about it. So obviously he really wanted a bigger role. He really wanted that character to be something big. Yeah. And so the fact that he's passionate about it makes this whole story even sadder.
This quote was from Price of Reason on X. Says, "Remember that time John Boyega criticized Disney for sidelining his character? He says, what I say to Disney is do not market a black character as important and then push them aside." He said that to GQ in 2020.
I mean, I agree 95%. I don't think he had to. I think that goes with any character, not just a black, white, Asian character. Don't make a badass character, put him front and center, and then say, just kidding. Like, that's not the main character of the story.
This one says, gee, look at all that fan diversity way back in 1983.
The Jedi have returned.
We're just fanatics out here waiting on Return of the Jedi. 3 years in the making. We were waiting for this.
Some people don't idolize Darth Vader like I do.
Oh, jeez.
Hell yeah.
I want to know where that guy is now.
I think that...
I mean, that's another name that... one of the names that he didn't mention when he says Lando, when he says Mace Windu, Samuel Jackson, he doesn't mention James Earl Jones as the voice of Darth Vader. Who is now, his voice will live, he did like a deal with Disney through AI that his voice will live on as Darth Vader even though he passed away.
That's cool.
So, I mean, a lot of people would question whether that's even a good idea, but but in perpetuity, I bet you, I wonder if his family will, I mean, as some people might just say, don't do more.
Have you watched the new episodes of Family Guy at all?
No.
So they recast the actor that did Cleveland's voice, and it's ever so slightly off that it's
almost
distracting.
It's almost worse when it's just barely different as opposed to completely different.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just a little distracting, and I don't care that they recast like whoever you want for your characters, but it's like, okay, you tried to make it too similar.
Yeah.
It's a distraction. Now it's ruining the episode.
Let's read through a couple of more of these. So this person says, John says, I think most fans wanted Finn to have a bigger role, to be treated better than a comic sidekick, but fans didn't write 3 shitty movies. John Boyega has a right to be angry with how his character was treated, but it was the a-holes at Lucasfilm and Disney that did him dirty, not the fans. Yeah, my point was that he was pushed aside for Kathleen Kennedy's feminism, rather than fans' racism. It was the feminism of Kathleen Kennedy wanting to put Rey at the front of the trilogy, not the toxic racism of fans.
Well, look how far we've got. It was just kind of like poorly written movies, and now we have non-binary space witches.
Yes, well, we've fallen. So here's a fun fact, guys. So I really love this show Terriers that I watched over the weekend from 2010, starring Donald Logue. It only did 13 episodes. The ending kind of sucked, but it didn't get a season 2, and they wanted a season 2. And the #1 staff writer on the show, not the main writer, but the head staff writer, Leslie Headland, who did The Acolyte.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. And the episodes she wrote entirely weren't bad, so something happened.
Do you know I think it's the season finale of the Clone Wars, the animated series, is one of the highest rated things ever out of all. Maybe it's just television.
Yeah.
Might be movies too. Like they know how to tell good stories. They have the blueprints, but their own ego is getting in the way of that. Their own personal messaging campaign is getting in the way of that.
And need for everything to be IP, but that's like a whole different discussion.
Sure.
This person says, John Boyega needs to stop. Everyone wanted him to be the focus of the sequel. A stormtrooper turned Jedi was an awesome idea, but Kathleen Kennedy decided to uplift Rey, so he needs to STFU. I like this one. So Savvy says, Dear John Boyega, fans do not write scripts that get used in the movies you perform in. Fans do not control the way marketing is done. Fans are seldom listened to by Disney and other major corporations these days. You know who cucked Finn, who we all wanted to be a Jedi? Disney did that. You know who cucked Finn in marketing? Disney did that. You know who cucked Finn in writing quality? Disney did that. Not only did the majority of the fans want Finn to be a Jedi, but they wanted him with Rey. Mentally ill writers, though, made him a side thought, intentionally messed with viewers, and ultimately made him a throwaway character. Your gripe is with Disney, not any fan of any color.
I wonder why. Again, who's in his ear? This is sad.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's that or if it's just being a little bit disconnected from the average everyday person. It could be a little bit of both, if I'm being honest. Nina Infinity says, Hey, John Boyega, don't blame the fans for how Disney treated your character. We all wanted you to be one of the heroes. They didn't. Blame Kathleen Kennedy, Disney, and Rian Johnson for the massive F-up that is The Last Jedi. Yep. If this was a day Phil was on, he could be railing against Disney right now because
he hates
really,
Disney.
He really hated how they ruined Star Wars.
I was a huge Star Wars fan, and I was so excited when they were bringing the new movies back.
Yeah.
And I was really disappointed. The first 3, I was just like, I'm just like, meh. This kind of was a letdown. And then I've seen what they did with the Disney Plus series, and I'm like,
I mean, that's what ruins. That's
glad
what,
I fell off.
in my opinion, what has ruined all of these IPs, meaning like Marvel, Star Wars. It's the streaming shows. It doesn't. None of it feels special anymore.
Sure,
it doesn't.
It could though. Like it could, because Star Wars is like Marvel. The universe is so massive, right? You can tell these little side stories, and they can be shows with like it tells you, gives you a little bit more information about the galaxy without actually changing the main plot line of the movie.
They haven't.
But they're just.
I mean, so much has been retconned, but also like the quality of writing has just been too choppy. To have.
They need some regular old basement dwelling nerds to get back in the writer's room and show them what Star Wars is supposed to be.
I agree. Marshall says, I'm convinced John Boyega has never met an actual Star Wars fan because Finn should have been the main character is an incredibly popular opinion. So, there you have it. I do think that is true. And, you know, unfortunately, I feel more bad for him because, like, it's 2025 and this is still going on.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So he obviously would have, in my opinion, the fact that he's still like, if he's still talking about this in 2025, that means this really impacted him. He was really passionate about the role. And so that is also what makes it so heartbreaking, is that we probably, if they truly gave him the keys to the car, we would have seen a phenomenal performance.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.